Hello students. Today we are going to discuss about respiratory system. The functional anatomy of respiratory system. The upper respiratory tracts are the nose, nasal cavity and paranasal air sinuses, and that includes pharynx and larynx. The lower respiratory tracts includes trachea, bronchi and small bronchioles, lungs, and it contain alveoli. First, we are going to study about the nose. The functions of a nose are provide an airway for respiration. It moistens and warms the air, filter inhaled air, and it help to resonating chamber for speech and houses for olfactory receptors. Parts of nose are the external nares or the nostrils and the nasal cavity which is divided by nasal septum. In the posterior nasal aperture, it is otherwise called as the cornea and it is continuous with the nasopharynx. The lateral wall of nasal cavity that contain some shelf-like projections it is called as the nasal conchae. The superior and middle conchae are the part of ethmoid bone. The inferior conchae it is a separate bone. All conchae project medially from the lateral wall of nasal cavity that create a streamlined flow of air and that provide longer surface area for humidification of inspired air. It have two type of mucous membranes. They are the olfactory mucosa and the respiratory mucosa. The olfactory mucosa, which seen near the roof of nasal cavity and houses of olfactory receptors. The respiratory mucosa, which lies the nasal cavity. The main epithelium which lies the nasal cavity is called as a pseudostratified ciliated columnar epithelium. Next, we are discussing about the paranasal air sinuses. The paranasal sinuses are the air containing cavities in certain bones of skull. It's lined by the mucous membrane. It's continuous with the nasal cavity that communicate with the nasal fossa through their various ostia. Some functions of paranasal air sinuses are they have a role in air conditioning of the inspired air and that reduces the weight of skull or simply act as a protector of eye in trauma and that give resonance to the voice and thermally insulate of skull base and orbit. The paranasal air sinuses are 8 in number, 4 on each side. They are the right and left frontal air sinus, right and left ethmoidal air sinus, right and left maxillary air sinus, and right and left sphenoidal air sinus. Clinically, the paranasal air sinuses are divided into two groups. The anterior group that drain below the middle turbinate or near the infundibulum consists of frontal, maxillary, and anterior and the middle group of ethmoidal cells. The posterior group drains at several locations above the middle turbinate is made up of the posterior ethmoidal cells and the sphenoidal sinuses. Next, we are discussing about the pharynx. The pharynx is a conical fibromuscular tube that forming the upper part of airways and the food passages. It measures about 12 to 14 centimeter long and it is divides into three sections by its location. They are the nasopharynx, oropharynx and laryngopharynx. The nasopharynx from the base of skull that means the basi occiput and the basi sphenoidal part to the soft palate and the oropharynx from the plane of hard palate to the hyoid bone and laryngopharynx from the hyoid bone to the lower border of cricoid cartilage. First, we can discuss about the nasopharynx. It is the only an air passage way. It is closed off during swallowing and it contains the opening of pharyngotympanic tube. That means the auditory tube. The nasopharyngeal tonsil is present there. It is located on the posterior wall and it is destroys the entering pathogens. The tubal tonsil which is present here that provides some protection from the infection. The pseudostratified ciliated columnar epithelium, which lies the inner surface of nasopharynx. The oropharynx lies the opposite to the oral cavity with which it communicates through oropharyngeal isthmus. The oropharyngeal isthmus, the soft palate above, upper surface of tongue below, and palatoglossal arch on either side. There are two types of tonsils in the oropharynx. They are the palatine tonsils. This is in the lateral wall, and the lingual tonsil, which covers the posterior surface of tongue. The stratified squamous epithelium, which lies the oropharynx. Next, the laryngopharynx or the hypopharynx. It is a passageway for both food and air. It is the lowest part of pharynx. Boundaries of laryngopharynx. Above, it's continuous as oropharynx. Below, it's continuous as esophagus. Anteriorly, the laryngeal cavity or inlet of larynx. And it is lined by a specialized epithelium. It's called as stratified squamous epithelium. Next, we are going to discuss about the Walder's ring. This is a ring that composed of malt, that mucosa associated lymphatic tissue at beginning of the food and air passage. The Walder's ring is formed by the pharyngeal tonsils, tubal tonsils, palatine tonsils, and lingual tonsils. They also produce B and T lymphocyte for local defense. Also produce lymphocyte to send to another lymph nodes. Next, we are going to discuss about the larynx. The larynx lies anterior to the hypopharynx, opposite to C3 and C6 vertebrae. Main functions of larynx are provide an open airways and protection of the lower airways, and voice production and also the respiration. Larynx is formed by 9 cartilages, 3 unpaired and 3 paired cartilages. 3 unpaired cartilages are thyroid, epiglottis, and cricoid. 3 paired cartilages are arytenoid, corniculate, and cuneiform. Some features about the vocal ligaments of larynx. The vocal fold, that is the true vocal cord, act in the sound production. The vestibular fold or the folds, vocal fold, that have no role in sound production. Subdivisions of larynx. Vertically, the larynx divides into 3 regions. The supraglottic region, that includes the epiglottis, array epiglottic fold, false vocal fold, arytenoid, and ventricle. Second, the glottis, the true vocal fold. Anterior commissure and the posterior commissure is there. And subglottic region, below the true vocal fold to the inferior border of cricoid cartilage. Next, we are discussing about the muscles of larynx. Two groups of muscles, extrinsic and intrinsic muscles. The extrinsic muscles which connects the larynx to the sternum, tongue, pharynx and hyoid apparatus. Then intrinsic muscles which connects the laryngeal cartilages. The intrinsic muscles are cricothyroid, posterior cricoarytenoid, lateral cricoarytenoid, thyroarytenoid and transverse arytenoid muscles. The nerve supply of larynx. The superior laryngeal nerve which supplies the cricothyroid muscle. Sensory supply to the larynx above the vocal fold by the superior laryngeal nerve. The recurrent laryngeal nerve which supplies all intrinsic muscles except the cricothyroid, and the sensory supply to the larynx below the vocal fold. Next, we are going to discuss about the trachea. The trachea or the windpipe, it is a tube which descends into the mediastinum. It kept open by 15 to 20 C-shaped cartilaginous ring, which are incompleted on posterior aspect. It is 10 to 12 centimeter long, extending from the lower part of larynx. It starts at the level of 6th cervical vertebra and ends near the carina, where it divides into left and right main bronchus. The most inferior cartilage separate the primary bronchi at their origin and forms an internal ridge. It is called as carina. It corresponds to the level of 5th thoracic vertebra. The trachea moves up with respiration and with alteration with the position of head. In deep inspiration, the carina can descend as much as 2.5 centimeter. In the child, the trachea is smaller, more deeply placed, and more movable than in the adult trachea. Next, we are going to discuss about the bronchial tree. The trachea divides into two, right and left bronchi or the principal bronchi. Then it again divides into lobar bronchi, then divides into the segmental bronchi, then again divides into the terminal bronchioles, then again divides into the respiratory bronchioles. Then it again divides into alveolar duct, divides into alveolar sac, and finally it ends at a pouch-like structure. It is called as a alveoli. Next, we are going to discuss about the bronchi. The trachea divides at the carina into right and left bronchus. First, we can discuss about the right main bronchus. It is about 2.5 centimeter long structure. It is wider, shorter, and more vertical in direction than the left bronchus. In children under the age of 3, the angulation of two main bronchus at carina are equal on both sides. But in adult, the right main bronchus is angulated at 25 degree and the left main bronchus is angulated at 45 degree from the midline. The azygos vein arches over it from behind and the right pulmonary artery lies at first below and then in front of it. The right main bronchus divides into three lobar bronchi to supply the respiratory lobes. The right bronchus is the commonest site for aspiration. The left main bronchus is narrower than the right one and it is nearly 5 cm long. The left main bronchus divides into two lobar bronchi for upper and middle lobes. It passes beneath the aortic arch that crosses in front of the esophagus, the thoracic duct, and the descending aorta, and has the left pulmonary artery lying at first above and then in front of the left main bronchus. Next, we are discussing about the bronchioles. The bronchi divides dichotomously into several million terminal bronchioles to terminate in one or more respiratory bronchioles. The bronchioles are less than 1 millimeter in dia. The cartilaginous ring that are seen in the bronchioles are replaced by cartilaginous plate as the size of bronchioles decreases. The cartilage completely disappears when their size reaches to 0.6 mm. The small terminal bronchioles are supported by smooth muscle cells. Distal to each terminal bronchioles is an acinus, which consists of 3 to 4 order of respiratory bronchioles. The respiratory bronchioles leads to alveolar duct. The wall of these ducts consists of alveolar sacs. The smooth muscles are found in the wall of airways up to the level of alveolar duct. We are discussing about the respiratory zones, the structure of respiratory zone. The alveoli. The respiratory zone which starts from the respiratory bronchioles which consist of mainly millions of alveoli. An alveoli consist of type 1 cells, that is the squamous epithelium, and the basal lamina, it is scattered among the type 1 cells. And the type 2 cells, which is called as the cuboidal cells, which secrete surfactant. Macrophages that destroy the foreign materials. Features of alveoli. It is surrounded by elastic fibers, interconnected by way of alveolar pores, internal surface, a site for free movement of the alveolar macrophages. We are discussing about the pleural cavity. Outer surface of each lung and adjacent internal thoracic walls are lined by serous membrane called pleura. Outer surface of lung tightly covered by visceral pleura, and while the internal thoracic walls and the lateral surface of mediastinum and the superior surface of diaphragm are lined by parietal pleura. The parietal and visceral pleura layers are continuous at the hilar region of each lung. The pleural cavity. The peritoneal space between the serous membrane layer, it is a pleural cavity. The pleural membrane produces a thin serous pleural fluid that circulate in the pleural cavity and act as a lubricant, ensuring minimal friction during respiration. Next, we are going to discuss about the lung. The lungs are pair of respiratory organ situated in the thoracic cavity. Each is in cone shape with anterior, lateral, posterior surface which contain ribs. The superior tip is called as the apex, just deep to the clavicle. The concave inferior surface resting on the diaphragm, it is the base. The lungs are heavier in male than the female. Some gross anatomy of the lungs. The major landmark of the lungs, it have apex, base, hilum and root. The left lung have an oblique fissure. It divides the lobe into superior and inferior lobes. The right lung has an oblique fissure and a horizontal fissure which divides superior, middle and inferior lobes. The hilum or the hilus, it is a places where the blood vessels, bronchi, lymph vessels and nerve enters and exit through the lungs. Next, the bronchopulmonary segments. Each lung is made up of bronchopulmonary segments which is separated by dense connective tissue. Each bronchopulmonary segment is aerated by the tertiary or segmental bronchus. The branches of pulmonary artery accompany the bronchus and lies dorsolateral to it. Thus, each segment has its own separate artery. Pulmonary segment of right lung in the upper, apical, posterior and anterior, on the middle lobe, lateral and medial, lower lobe, superior, medial, anterior, posterior and lateral basal. The bronchopulmonary segment of the left lung, the upper lobe has apical, posterior, anterior, superior lingual, inferior lingual, and lower lobe has superior, medial, anterior, lateral, posterior, basal. These are all about respiratory system. Thank you.